and how he can anti-air or air-to-air this character, because she can really match the pressure of Peach with the frame data that she has, because Sheik has the best frame data in the game at the cost of lower damage than most of the cast can do. But 126 on Nimble's side, not too far off, and MuteAce still sitting at a nice mid% where he can just hold this ledge trap, and a really nice up B coming out, like really getting himself out of that situation. And we're gonna see now, this is the last stock or last hit for Peach, and forward air is gonna take it sweet spot. 85% on MuteAce's side, and we're gonna see how Nimble reacts to being down now.
Yeah, first blood going to going to MuteAce, but Nimble not too far behind. MuteAce's got to figure out how to land here. A little bit of an overextension, kind of expecting Mute to retreat over to the corner, but Mute just taking a bit of a greedier option, taking center stage.
Yeah, and MuteAce now kind of playing a slower game plan. Like, he was already playing at a slower tempo before, but now he's really trying to figure out how Nimble wants to approach this game, and seeing the tempo that Nimble is going to be approaching at to kind of figure out where he can find his punishes. Getting 57 already on the board, which is really nice for him, because it's going to, any damage that you can get before the stock is closed out on Nimble's favor is good to have for the next stock situation, so that you don't have to work as hard to get that second stock going into the lower percents of Sheik.
Also, a tiny little adaptation that I'm noticing MuteAce is making that is making it very hard for Nimble to find these kills. Notice the way that MuteAce is floating is like very low to the ground. It makes it hard for Sheik to find rising back air, which is one of her better ways to find kills in a lot of matchups. But forcing her to go for these like landing back airs makes it a little trickier.
Yeah, and you notice there, like right as you're mentioning that too, Nimble did a full hop landing back air as low as he could in order to kind of counter adapt towards that lower float landing, and he got 2 back airs off of that, but unfortunately he lost his second stock right after that. But the back air pressure is just not phasing MuteAce right now, and Nimble just really needs to figure out how to close his first stock at 158%. Sheik, notoriously known for not having the best kill options, but you can really chip it, like nickel and dime your damage, and hopefully you can get something that will just stray kill eventually. And a really nasty forward tilt coming out from MuteAce for an anti-air. MuteAce loves forward air, or not forward air, forward tilt and up tilt for like both those just anti-air like niche options for certain situations. I've seen him use it a couple times. I've experienced it a couple times too. It's a really underrated move, I would say, and a nice back air coming out from Nimble for the first stock of the game.
I like the way that he kind of delayed the fastball there as well to catch MuteAce spot dodging.
Yeah, and Nimble's pressure, like, taking a step back now, realizing that he can't really engage all the time, because every time he's approached with, like, a rising nair or, like, a falling aerial in general, MuteAce has really just been on top of retaliating with this float cancel nair. And, like, this float cancel nair is doing a lot right now. JCFF also coming into the factor of just being able to fast fall into the nair. Even if it's sour spot, it's still like just pushing Nimble away in a way that MuteAce can just set up his next situation. Turning back here, coming out from MuteAce. Good game 1 going out to him. Really showing the fact that like he understands the defensive play in this matchup, and MuteAce is very comfortable in just delaying a lot of the options and just waiting for Nimble to pressure him in order to take his pressure. And it's not even like he's pressuring him that often too. It's mainly the factor of just reversals, bait and punish. Just very simple, like very simple game plan that is very effective at this level.
Yeah, and I like that you mentioned the timing of doing these delay options, because I feel like a lot of the way MuteAce is playing this like more defensive game plan that you pointed out is not necessarily being defensive with space, but being a bit more tricky with like how he's using these staggers and delays and
yeah.
throw Nimble out of the game.
Yeah, it's really tricky because at first you saw Nimble the last game where Nimble was on top of it. Wow, that was good coming from MuteAce. Just realizing that the nair off stage was just going to be enough. Pretty much just taking the words out of my mouth.
Right, yeah. And just as we were talking about that defensive gameplay, Mute showing that he is also not afraid to change it up a little bit if he needs to like go in, take that space, or take those faster options.
Yeah, like getting 90% from just being super aggressive off stage, where like most Peach players would just opt to like turn up and just set up the ledge trap. Mute is showing that he is very comfortable in just being off the stage and showing that down air is still going to be good in those situations, pressuring with forward air, like, and then reversing with up B too, up B with high priority. Like, Nimble really just has to figure out a way of just understanding the timing of how MuteAce wants to approach and just being able to hopefully either get behind him or being able to just capitalize off of these moments right here, and unfortunately didn't capitalize off of this one.
Such a clean fade back on the up D for MuteAce to avoid getting hit by that back here.
Yeah, and the second stock on Nimble's side lost now. Now it's 3-1 for this game too. I don't know if FD is really the pick you want. I feel like a lot of flat space here. Nimble really has more telegraphic landings, and a nice needles up smash coming out.
Nice.
Really good. He needs something like that early stock, or at least early stock in terms of Sheik Peach. But
right. Like you said, taking stocks is definitely going to be a big problem in this matchup. And especially against a player like MuteAce, who's so good at using all of these little tricks that Peach has to really make you work hard for every single stock you take.
Yeah. And you see here Nimble now is just trying to figure out a way to kind of start his pressure. Unfortunately not getting the read there for the tech roll, but a nice grab. Trying to overextend, but Nimble unfortunately can't get that bouncing fish. MuteAce faded away just enough, and Peach has just such good fadeaway options too. Like, she hurt box shifts a lot. She has a float that kind of extends the way that she can recover, whether she retreats and then comes back in, or if she just like fully goes back in. She's just so much mix-up to the character too. Makes it very hard for even characters like Sheik, who is very fast, to deal with this kind of stuff. But Nimble holding on very strong for the second game, 120%, but not too far away from being able to take the second stock, and not counting him out just yet. But MuteAce is really showing just a dominant game plan right now, and just contain, even with whiffing the buttons.
Yeah, and just holding the center position here makes it so hard for Sheik to really get anything started.
Yeah, holding center stage is a very scary situation, especially against a character like Peach, who can capitalize really hard on like roll-in reads or just like being able to aggress on her, because pressing buttons on Peach is a very risk-reward like game plan of just like high risk, like medium reward most of the time, because Peach kind of gets that harder favor in it where she just knows that like you're trying to do something to her, and then she can kind of react and do the option she needs to cover it. Good jab coming out though, and Nimble's still holding on, 145%, not taking that much percent, luckily.
Still holding on, but as long as you... Oh,
nah, not a kill yet. Peach down smack is not...
potentially going to kill. I forgot it is, in fact, Peach down smack.
Oh, not the
but
angle.
That forward air is going to do it.
Yeah, I feel like that was just a misinput for the angle of that up B too. It's not the way you want it to go.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit rough.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nimble holding on to these stocks very well, but MuteAce is kind of playing this game plan where he's making it very hard that even if you're holding on to these stocks for a long time, it's really hard to really get mileage from those stocks. Just as Mute is saying, like, oh, I'm going to hold this center stage position. I'm going to hold these positions where even if you're getting these little, like, nickel and dime hits that Sheik is very good at, it's not going to do much in terms of conversions.
Yeah. And I'm really curious on how Nimble's going to play this game 3 now. Going to a smaller stage like, no, not Smashville. Hollow Bastion, maybe? A little more space, but finally with the platform once again. I feel like in this matchup, you definitely do want to have a platform. I feel like landing on Peach on a flat stage is not ideal.
Yeah, it can be rough.
I think it's very rough. But Nimble, the one that plays Sheik, probably knows a little bit something that we don't. But game 3 going to Hollow Bastion, a little more space to work with now, being able to kind of put more stage pressure and just like, maybe if Nimble just needs to retreat, he has a little more space. But at the same time, it works in the favor for MuteAce, where MuteAce, if he needs the space to go and pull a turnip real quick or like kind of try to whiff punish something in a scramble situation, it would work out for him too.
I feel like Nimble is starting off all these games pretty strong, but it just comes to like how is he going to finish off that plate and get those kills.
Yeah, like right now.
Yeah, like that's where it can be really rough.
Yeah, right now it's like a pretty even game, but Nimble, I feel like once the first stock is taken by MuteAce, at least in these past couple games, it's very just a downhill like spiral of just like MuteAce kind of snowballs the game into his favor, where Nimble is just looking at like trying to find the conversion that's going to set up into a kill, and MuteAce is just like chipping away, like pressuring with forward air and back air, holding center stage, just very typical fundamental game plan where it's just not going to like phase him at all as long as he's comfortable with the punishes he's dealing.
It can also be very awkward playing this matchup from the Sheik side too, because a lot of your confirms change wildly if you're fighting floatier characters.
Yeah.
Like we saw a moment ago, he went for an air forward air and it just didn't, or excuse me, an air bounce rotation, and it just didn't connect.
Yeah, and now finally the back airs are actually being able to be used. Nimble taking advantage of the fact that full hop into fast fall back air can actually hit Peach from the lower float. And now Nimble, for the first time in the set, is actually up in percentage and in stock lead.
Nimble seems to have figured out something with landing those back airs.
Yeah, and keeping it very basic and simple. A little bit of an overextension there, which MuteAce capitalized with using the forward air to kind of get out of the pressure. But Nimble now kind of just in a situation where if he was going to press like something that MuteAce was just trying to reversal it, and you see it there, like Peach Nair, very strong tool. It looks like in this matchup that you're going to have to deal with that a lot if you're Sheik, because the priority of that move is probably just like a little bit stronger than like trading with Sheik Fair or Sheik Bear. Like you're willing to take a trade with Sheik at the end of the day for an aerial.
Unfortunate drop from Nimble there. It's a rough situation.
Yeah.
On the ledge.
And Nimble so far been doing a lot of good mix-ups to get off the ledge, like jumping away and like being content with just staying at the ledge a little bit longer and holding that position, because most players want to escape immediately, but he's recognizing that he can just play a little bit longer with the movement that he has and the stats that he can get around Peach with, and not trying too hard on like trying to roll past him or immediately get behind MuteAce's pressure.
I love the way that Nimble is not afraid to go for these like weird tricks that sometimes you see people like when they're playing against top players, they get scared and rigid, but Nimble is still staying loose, going for things like these up B reversals off the ledge, going for like weird needle stuff.
Yeah, and wow, what a footstool. Like, it didn't really do that much besides a down air, but very interesting situation to get yourself into. It's not too far off from Nimble too, because like Nimble's in a situation where like he can definitely bring this game back within like a couple of like good interactions, but it's really on MuteAce's like factor to see where he's gonna just hold the center stage and how he's gonna react to Nimble like trying to find the stock. Back air seems to be like the most notable option right now that Nimble's been using, like right there, yeah, and it didn't even kill.
I thought that was gonna kill, honestly, but
there we go.
Insane DI. For the first time, Nimble having a last stock game here. And
yeah.
Not too much extra credit on the board. This is...
Yeah, 50%. Like, this is very doable for Sheik to get herself back into. Give her a couple of interactions. One really good interaction could definitely do it. But we'll see how Nimble handles on, like, getting a combo starter here. Very big scramble situation right now. And talking about that earlier where Sheik doesn't really have a good way to get herself out of scramble situations because her hits are so weak. And MuteAce is just taking advantage of the fact that, like, Sheik isn't going to be doing that much damage. And wow, down tilt forward air on DIN is going to cover the ledge for the drop down double jump, and MuteAce taking that 3-0.
3-0 from MuteAce. We saw some nice adaptations coming out from Nimble there towards the end.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a little too late, but very solid showing nonetheless. And congratulations to MuteAce for not in the bracket.
And MuteAce advancing now to top 16 winners, I'm pretty sure. Or, yeah, top 16 winners, I'm pretty sure. Where I actually don't know who he's going to face next. But
yeah, Mute seemed very, very comfortable going out, just edge guarding Sheik, which is typically not an easy thing to do for a lot of characters.
Yeah, especially like Peach doesn't really have great aerial stats, mainly carried by float, right? Where float does help a lot in her pressure and being able to overextend and reach the farther like areas of the blast zone. MuteAce was just very comfortable with using all the resources in his toolkit to just go deep off stage, even like you saw game 2 where the first stock he was going off with float, and then the second stock he was going like all the way lower to the blast zone at the bottom and just taking everything that he could from Nimble to make it harder to recover, and then just capitalize off of that. And that's a hard feat for.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Yeah, that just shows how experienced that Mute is against a character like Sheik, which shows just how much he's played this game too. Like, you see a lot of things that you won't see from everyday like gameplay when it comes to